Hi, I'm Walter Bodwell, the VP of Engineering at Aptage. In this video, we'll step through using Aptage's Risk Burndown tool to analyze the state of a release. To learn more about the benefits of Aptage, and for other videos, check out www.aptage.com. Using the Risk Burndown tool requires that we fill out a spreadsheet with our project information. We can get a template of that spreadsheet by clicking on Download Template. If we want to see one that is already filled in, we can click on Download Sample. The Plan tab allows us to configure what terminology we want to use. Release, sprint, and story points, for example, could also be project, week, and hours. And what columns our backlog spreadsheet will have. By default, it is configured to support the columns in an export from Jira. The Plan tab is also where we configure what we view as an acceptable amount of risk. In other words, the percent likelihood of failure that we consider acceptable at the beginning of a release. More innovative projects are generally more risky, but also more rewarding. The Teams tab is where we configure which teams will be participating in this project. We also configure how we want to determine the team's velocities there. We can choose to look at stories from past releases, which we can paste under the Past tab, or to use an estimate with low, expected, and high values, or to use past velocities, which we specify here. The Backlog tab contains our release backlog, including stories that we've already completed in this release. If you're using Jira, you can just paste your export results here. The Workflow tab allows us to configure the possible statuses for our backlog items and what each of them mean: not yet started, in progress, or done. The Priority tab allows us to identify the possible priorities for our backlog items, from most important priority to least important priority. The Tracking tab allows us to identify the sprints in the release as well as which sprint we're planning. As we move through the release, we can capture past results from the tool here to show risk burndown over time. Finally, the Check tab will tell us if everything is filled out properly. Once the spreadsheet is in good shape, we can import it. As a result of running the tool, we get a lot of information on the state of our release. The likelihood graph on the left shows when our release is likely to finish. In this case, we're in pretty good shape. The release has a 2% chance of failure. This is the number we would put on the Tracking tab for this sprint. The Risk Burndown graph shows us how our risk has changed over time and how that compares to the acceptable risk that we set. We can also drill into the expected velocity for the release as a whole. And we can drill into the individual teams and see both which teams are at greater risk and what they should expect as far as their velocity. The tool will tell us if any stories will be blocked by other teams. They won't in this case. It also tells us what the likelihood is that we'll complete the release in a certain number of sprints, and it recommends what stories we should take on next sprint. Armed with this information, we can now update the spreadsheet to play what-if scenarios and/or make adjustments to our release to increase the likelihood of success. Thanks for watching. To get started using Aptage in your organization, please contact us at hello@aptage.com.